lied my way on a boat. I actually lied my way on a boat and told them I knew what I was doing. And it was in school, a friend of mine was doing crab fishing, and he had a beautiful brand new car, and I was driving a Volkswagen.
Just moments ago, the harrowing tale resurfaced of Captain Phil Harris's tragic demise on the dangerous waters of Deadliest Catch. Plunged into the icy, merciless depths of the Bering Sea, crab fishermen like Harris battle against nature's fury, risking their lives with every voyage. With each passing season, the sea claims more victims, its dangers more apparent and deadly. Let us venture further into this saga, exploring the profound sacrifices made and the heavy price paid by those who brave the treacherous sea. The dangerous waters of the Bering Sea. Deadliest Catch is a show that pulls viewers in with its thrilling and risky scenes, giving a real look at the hard life of crab fishermen in Alaska. The show doesn't just show the work involved in catching crabs in the dangerous Bering Sea, it also gives a glimpse into the high risks these fishermen face every day. Over its 19 seasons, the show has shown just how dangerous crab fishing really is, with several members of the cast losing their lives because of the job. One of the most heartbreaking losses was Captain Phil Harris, a well-loved figure who passed away in the year 2010. His death was a turning point in the series, leaving a lasting effect on both fans and those who worked on the show. It's a grim thought that the crab dishes some people enjoy come with such a high human cost. But for viewers who watch the series, the dangers on screen are a constant reminder of what these brave men and women go through. As the next storm approaches, the crew faces a dire choice: brave the deadly seas for their catch or retreat and risk their livelihood. Time is running out. The captain's passing was the first of several deaths connected to the show, and it hit the Deadliest Catch community hard. He was the captain of the Cornelia Marie and had a stroke while the cameras were not rolling during the filming of the 6th season. He was 53 years old at the time, and he spent several days in the hospital after the stroke before he passed away. His death came as a shock to many fans who had followed his journey for years. Reports from the U.S. Sun mentioned that he was put in a medically induced coma after his stroke so doctors could perform surgery, and he did wake up afterward. Unfortunately, despite the medical team's best efforts, he didn't make it and died because of a brain bleed. The show dedicated a series of episodes to his last days, documenting his medical struggles and how they affected his family and the crew. These episodes attracted over 5 million viewers who tuned in to see the final chapter of his life. They gave a close look at the difficult situation, not just for the crew of the Cornelia Marie, but for the entire Deadliest Catch community. The episode on July 13th was called Redemption Day, and it showed him in his last days, while the next episode, Valhalla, looked at how his death affected everyone.
My dad thinks about this whole proposition and decides in his mind that, well, you know what, if I'm going to become part owner in this boat, we got to start taking care of business on my standards.
Later, there was a special tribute episode called Captain Phil Harris Remembered, giving fans a chance to honor his memory. Clark Bunting, who was in charge at Discovery at the time, said that even though viewers already knew the outcome, these episodes were a way for everyone to mourn together. Fans were especially shocked by his death because it was so unexpected. He had been a tough captain, but his lifestyle was not the healthiest, and it caught up with him. According to reports, he had been dealing with a lot of health problems for years, and his habits made things worse. He smoked a lot, ate a lot of high-calorie foods, drank multiple cans of Red Bull, and consumed large amounts of coffee. 2 years before his passing, in 2008, he had a pulmonary embolism, which is a dangerous condition where a blood clot blocks the lungs. This was a serious warning sign, but even after that, he kept pushing himself, facing the harsh realities of the job. Let's see how Phil's last journey at sea shaped those he left behind. A captain's final voyage. A producer who knew him well noticed his health was getting worse over time. Phil's son, Josh Harris, also shared that his father was in a lot of pain during his final fishing trip due to herniated discs in his back. These health problems made things incredibly difficult for him, but he was determined and kept pushing forward. He had always shown resilience, which made his death even harder for everyone to accept. His commitment to his work and his deep love for the sea were clear throughout his time on the show, and that's why losing him was such a heavy blow for his family, friends, and all the fans who had grown to admire him. But this wasn't the only heartbreaking part. His death also shed light on how dangerous crab fishing is, and it opened many people's eyes to the realities that the show had been trying to show for years. Crab fishing is not just a tough job, it's one of the most dangerous in the world. The risk of death is high because of the harsh weather, the physical demands, and the unpredictable conditions at sea. The Bering Sea, where the show takes place, is famous for its rough waters, freezing temperatures, and sudden storms, which can turn deadly very quickly. The loss of the captain reminded viewers that what they see on screen is not just entertainment. These fishermen face life and death situations regularly. Sadly, he was not the only cast member to die over the years, and each loss has shown just how harsh crab fishing can be. The show aims to entertain, but it also gives a glimpse into the sacrifices that the people in this industry make. Their stories include both moments of success and times of deep hardship, and for some, the price they pay is the highest one of all. Every death leaves a lasting mark on the Deadliest Catch family and serves as a reminder of the dangers that always hang over them. The episodes that followed his death were more than just a tribute to a loved captain. They were a way for the cast, crew, and audience to deal with the grief and loss that came after he passed away. The tribute helped everyone reflect on his life, a man who had become a true icon in the Deadliest Catch series.
While we're still young.
That's a drop, not a miss, buoy.
You missed. You up. Take it like a man.
The shared experience of mourning created a bond among the viewers and cast who had followed his story through its ups and downs. By showing his final moments and the impact of his death, the series gave a raw and real look at what loss looks like in such a dangerous job. But the story doesn't end here. His death also drew attention to the importance of taking care of one's health, especially in such a risky profession. While the dangers of crab fishing can't be completely avoided, taking steps to stay healthy could help save lives. The show has highlighted the physical toll that this kind of work can take on a person, and his story became a powerful example of why being careful about health is so important even when working in a job that demands toughness. Phil faced his toughest times at sea as his health worsened. Legacy of the Sea. Throughout its many seasons, Deadliest Catch has continued to follow other fishermen's journeys, showing their struggles and the dangers they face. The show doesn't shy away from the moments of fear, exhaustion, and danger. Although his story is one of the most memorable, there are many others who have faced close calls or serious injuries while doing the same work. The series captures the human side of commercial fishing, showing that behind every catch are real people who risk everything to support their families. Phil's sons, Josh and Jake Harris, have carried on their father's legacy by working in the same tough field. After Phil's passing, Josh took on a bigger role in the series, even becoming a captain of the Cornelia Marie to honor his father and keep the family's connection to the sea alive. Their journey hasn't been easy, as both brothers have faced challenges of their own, including dealing with the emotional pain of losing their dad and personal struggles. But they have shown strength and determination, just like their father did. Phil Harris's story didn't just end with his death. His legacy lives on, not just through his sons, but also through the impact he made on fans and fellow fishermen. His life became a story of struggle, resilience, and the harsh truths of a dangerous job. To those who knew him, Phil wasn't just a character on TV, he was a real person who faced tough times and inspired others with his spirit. For many viewers, his presence made the show feel more real and personal because he represented what a true fisherman is: hardworking, gritty, and never giving up, no matter how hard things got. But there's another important lesson here. Phil Harris's life and his passing showed that there's more to crab fishing than just catching crabs. It's about the courage to keep going despite the risks and the close bonds formed through shared hardships. Deadliest Catch gives viewers a deeper understanding of the lives of those who choose such a dangerous path, showing that even in the toughest situations, there is room for hope and the drive to keep moving forward. Phil Harris's legacy remains strong through the stories of his sons and in the hearts of those who watch the show and appreciate what it means to keep going no matter the odds. The episodes about Captain Harris's last days continue to be some of the most remembered in the show's history. They didn't just mark the end of an era, they honored a man who was loved and respected by many. His story stays alive through the lessons learned and the memories shared, reminding everyone that behind the adventure and thrill of the sea, there is a real risk and a high cost for those who dare to face it. His life showed the true meaning of resilience, and that's what continues to inspire both his sons and the viewers who watched his journey unfold. Steve Ward, the engineer of the Cornelia Marie, discovered Captain Phil Harris lying on the cabin floor. When his son Josh saw him, he noticed that his dad couldn't move the left side of his face or his arms. Despite his weakness, Harris did not want the Deadliest Catch crew to stop filming. He wanted them to record everything that was happening. Consequently, Season 6 focused significantly on him and his health issues. He was taken to a hospital in Anchorage for surgery, and initially it seemed he might recover. However, his condition soon deteriorated and he tragically passed away. His death marked a new beginning of awareness and change. The final watch. When Josh was faced with the daunting task of informing his brother Jake about their father's passing, the difficulty of the moment was palpable. Josh struggled with his words, his voice breaking as he tried to convey the tragic news. Their relationship, as depicted in the show, was a complex tapestry of rivalry and camaraderie. The brothers often found themselves at odds, engaging in competitions and pranks, and occasionally clashing in arguments. However, adversity had a way of bringing them closer, uniting them in times of need. Reflecting on the days spent in a hospital in Anchorage, Josh held dear the final moments he shared with his father. Those last days, though heavy with the shadow of impending loss, were imbued with a special significance. Surrounded by his family, Josh found a measure of peace in the shared presence of his loved ones.
More time driving back and forth to deliver the crab than they were catching the crab. So a bigger boat just seemed like the right idea to do at that point in time.
Harris's close friend, Dan Mittman, noted that for a while, it seemed he was improving post-surgery. Mittman thought it fortunate that he could bid farewell to his family and friends. In his final days, he ensured his work responsibilities were passed to his sons. Josh felt proud, believing he had proven to his father that he could manage. Jake, the younger son, now faced the prospect of assuming his dad's role sooner than anticipated, viewing the captain's chair with a new sense of responsibility and determination. The hardest part came after his passing. Josh and Jake grappled with the reality of life without their father, not just mourning him, but also figuring out how to continue the legacy he left. The Cornelia Marie was more than a vessel. It represented their father's life and dedication. Now, the brothers had to navigate leading the crew and managing all the responsibilities that came with the job. Josh felt immense pressure to demonstrate his capability, especially after his father's death. He aimed to earn the respect his father once held for him, drawing on the lessons he had been taught. It was about more than catching crabs or managing the crew. It was about upholding the values imparted by his father. He aspired to make him proud by excelling at his role on the Cornelia Marie, showing he was prepared to shoulder the responsibility. Jake found his father's death particularly challenging. The thought of filling the captain's chair was daunting. Aware of his father's strength, he doubted his ability to measure up. Yet this fear also fueled his resolve to try. It wasn't just about mastering the job, but also about cultivating the emotional resilience to lead. Jake realized that to adopt his father's role, he needed to develop his inner strength. The challenges persisted. The crew of the Cornelia Marie deeply felt the loss. Harris was more than a boss. He was a mentor and supporter. His approachable leadership style endeared him to his crew, fostering a familial atmosphere. His absence marked a significant change, but the crew remained committed to preserving the spirit of the Cornelia Marie in his honor. The bond between Harris and his sons endured its share of strains, yet love always underpinned their relationship. Those final days in the hospital underscored the depth of their connection. It was a time for Josh and Jake to absorb all that their father had imparted, from life-altering wisdom to everyday guidance. They witnessed his resilience and vulnerability, learning the essence of perseverance. We now follow the other fishermen facing their own dangers at sea. Navigating the storm. Yet their trials were far from over. Harris's death profoundly affected not only his family but also countless viewers who felt they knew him through Deadliest Catch. His candid portrayal of life on a fishing boat resonated with many, making his passing feel like the loss of a personal acquaintance. It highlighted the harsh realities of the fishing industry and the sacrifices involved. Despite their grief, Josh and Jake knew they had to advance their father's legacy. They embraced the responsibilities of the Cornelia Marie, aware of the challenges ahead. Doubts and the sense of loss occasionally overwhelmed them, but they drew strength from their memories of their father, determined to persevere as he would have wanted. As they continued to work on the Cornelia Marie, they began to carve their own paths. They weren't trying to replace their father, but were learning to lead in their own unique ways. They supported each other, not just continuing his work, but also forging something new. Their dedication and resolve honored Harris in a manner both respectful and true to their evolving identities. But it didn't get easier overnight. Every day brought new challenges and struggles, both on the water and off. The brothers had to deal with the emotional weight of their loss while still leading a crew and managing the business of crab fishing. Yet with each new obstacle, they learned and grew. The lessons their father taught them became more than just memories. They became the foundation for how they faced the world. Josh and Jake were determined to keep their father's spirit alive through their actions, showing that his legacy would continue on through them. The journey wasn't just about surviving without their dad. It was about finding a way to live fully in his absence. Captain Phil Harris had always been open about his struggles, and his sons took that same approach. They didn't try to hide their pain, and they didn't pretend everything was fine. Instead, they faced each challenge head-on, knowing that their father had taught them how to be strong, not by being perfect, but by always trying their best. And even though Captain Harris was no longer there, his influence was still felt everywhere on the Cornelia Marie. The boat, the crew, and the work were all reminders of the life he had built. Josh and Jake carried on, not just because they had to, but because they wanted to. They wanted to make their dad proud and continue the story he had started. It wasn't just a job for them, it was a way of keeping the memory of their father alive, one day at a time. The story of Captain Phil Harris isn't just about losing a father, it's also about finding the strength to keep going. It's about growing from tough experiences and using those lessons to become better. Captain Harris's legacy wasn't just in his sons or the Cornelia Marie, it was in the courage he showed every day. Josh and Jake took that courage and made it their own, proving that even though life can be unpredictable and full of challenges, the will to keep going is what truly defines a person's story. What do you think truly defines a person's legacy? Is it their achievements or how they inspire others? Like, comment, and subscribe to join the conversation and share your views.